Hey, this is Patrick with TakeTheTruck.com. I have to apologize, it's been quite a while since I've dropped a YouTube video. Just kind of been busy with the site, and life in general kind of got away from us. We found out last December that we've got another kiddo on the way, a boy who's coming in August, so we're super stoked on that. Unfortunately, we did have to part ways with our old 84 Toyota pickup that we had built for travel as a family. And we picked up this really clean first gen double cab Tacoma to replace it, TRD with all the works. So we're super excited about that, and we've been busting it, trying to get it kind of dialed in before he gets here. And we'll do a full walk around on the new truck here in the coming month or so. But today I wanted to share our power system that we found for this truck, for power, meeting our power needs while we're camping and traveling as a family. In the past, we've used all kinds of different power solutions while we traveled and worked remotely. We used, the more complex lead acid dual battery systems, with battery isolators, and then in our last truck we used kind of a hybrid system using the truck's lead acid AGM battery that powered our solar generator, and then we augmented that power with solar. This go around we found a solution that's so much simpler, and I think it's really going to benefit a lot of people who camp and travel and do overlanding in general. It's just a single drop-in battery that meets all of our power needs, and likely the majority of people's power needs, unless you've got really high power demands. So I'll flip the camera around and kind of walk you through it, and why we're stoked on this, and then we've got a blog post up on the site kind of going through it in more detail and how we implemented it in our truck, so you can check that out. All right, so this is the Dakota Lithium 12 volt 135 amp hour deep cycle starting battery. Kind of a mouthful, but 135 amp hour lithium battery, approximately 1620 watts. That's by comparison, our old solar generator was an 1100 watt 90 amp hour, and then we had a lead acid AGM battery, probably had about 30 amp hours of usable power, because if you're not familiar with battery technology or all that, the lead acid can only be discharged to 50% without causing permanent damage to the battery, reducing its capacity. Lithium, on the other hand, is able to be discharged anywhere from 80% to 95%, depending on the chemical makeup, without damage. So this is a lithium iron phosphate battery, and the amazing thing about this is Dakota says it's got a 135 amp alternator charging profile. So as long as your vehicle has a 135 amp or less alternator, it can be charged off the alternator. It's probably not the best. I think they recommend something closer to like 70 for maximizing the longevity of the battery. I'm not an expert on lithium, so I'm taking it at their word. And this truck, the first gen Tacoma that we got, has a 80 amp factory alternator, so I think we're good for maximizing the battery's longevity. Because they managed to pack all of that power into a Group 24 size battery, which I have no idea how they did that. It was a direct replacement for our starting battery. This truck just happened to have a Group 24 size lead acid battery. We pulled that out and simply replaced it with this. It was slightly taller than the stock lead acid battery. I had to modify this hold down bracket slightly to accommodate it, but other than that, it's a drop-in replacement. and this thing powered all of our devices, our 12-volt camping fridge, 2 laptops, 2 cell phones, for the entire duration of a recent trip we took out to Montana to get the Go Fast camper installed on the truck, and a couple weeks in Utah running around. And that was it. We didn't do any other modifications other than dropped it in there. I kind of cleaned up these terminals. One's got a bus to power the ham radio, and some heated seats we installed in there. Obviously we weren't using those on the trip, but and then simply used an ARB wiring kit, which I'm a big fan of. I've used them for years on lots of vehicles to run power back to the camper, because our power demands don't exceed anything that would overdraw on a 10 gauge wire. They consist of 2 sleeved 10 gauge wires, nice compact design, sleeved well, and we just ran that from the battery back to the camper. At the other end of the ARB wiring kit, we hooked up simple marine 12-volt outlets, 2, and one runs the fridge full time, and the other one we use to charge our devices. That's it. Simple. No complex solar system, no charge controllers, no DC to DC charge controller for a dual battery system or lead acid lithium combination. This is it. This is all we need. We never came close to depleting it on that trip, and because it's got that 135 amp alternator profile, we can fully recharge this thing with our 80 amp alternator in about 2 hours of drive time, which is about the time it takes us to go from camp to whatever trailhead we're jumping on or the next campsite. And 1600 watts will power our needs anyways, using our 12-volt fridge and our devices 24 hours a day. That'll last us about 4 to 5 days easily. And then we fire up the truck fully recharged and can go sit somewhere else for another 4 or 5 days if we want to. We rarely do when we travel, but it's insane. We basically don't have to worry about power anymore, and we don't have this complex system of solar panels on the roof, or not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's nice to have this new technology that provides a solution that's dead simple. So anyways, really wanted to share that with you guys. One thing that we did change, and probably not necessary, but lithium batteries are really difficult to judge the charge state just based off of the voltage reading on the battery. We did that on our last trip and it was fine. We just compared the voltage reading on our Bluetooth OBD2 reader to lithium iron phosphate voltage chart, which I've got on the blog post. You can check out the link I'll drop below the video for that, as well as all the details on this install and how what we use to run the power back to the camper. But so that worked out fine, as long as we weren't down below 13.1 volts or something. We knew we had plenty of power and we were good. But because lithium has such a flat voltage curve, they basically output that 12 plus volts until they're 95% depleted, and then it drops off, unlike lead acid batteries where it kind of continually gradually declines, so you can kind of see it coming. So to avoid any mistakes in that, we installed a Victron Energy 1000 amp smart shunt, which is a Bluetooth shunt that allows us to in real time monitor the power into and out of the battery from our phone. And that's just simply installed on the negative side, and you'll have to forgive me here. I had some really nice fine strand DC cable in the garage, and it was red. It didn't have black, so that's what I used. Labeled it so nobody makes a mistake. But this feeds to the Victron, and then from the other end of the shunt, all of our negative load sides of the system are connected to that end, and so we get to monitor not only everything that the truck is drawing, and the interior power that's being used, and it also allows us to monitor the power we use in the camper as well. So it's a pretty sweet setup. Like I said, it's dead simple, and in my opinion basically negates the need for a dual battery setup. You'd have to really have some high power demands to need to use more than 135 amp hours in a day while you're camping and traveling or overlanding. Yeah, so that's it. I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it was a really awesome product. We are not by any means sponsored by Dakota Lithium, although I would love to be. But we just bought this with our hard-earned money because it was the right solution for what we do. So I think that's it. If I think of anything else, I'll drop it in the comments. And if you have any questions, be sure to put a comment out there. Check out the blog post. I'll link down below the video. And then here in the next couple weeks, I'm going to get the winch installed. That's kind of the last thing to verify on this. This battery is rated for 270 amps continuous output. 900 amps for 5 seconds, 1,000 for 2 seconds, I think. So most winches, for at least for this size of a vehicle, consume at max like 450 amps, and usually you're not sitting there dogging the winch non-stop, maxing out that amperage. Most of the time they're operating around 180 to 200 amps. So this thing shouldn't have any problem whatsoever operating a winch, at least how we typically do for short 5 to 10 second bursts. So we'll report that in the blog post. I'll update that once I get the winch installed, but I have no doubt that it'll handle it no problem. That's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. I'll do a full walk around on the truck here in the next couple weeks or so once I get things finished and dialed in. See you next time.